YouTube. Let me make sure my mic is on. YouTube, good morning. Good morning. If you come to this channel, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell notification. Let's talk about it. Music Talks, episode 27. Excuse my specs. I like my glasses big so I can see everything. Let's talk about it. Ryan Coogler's Sinners. I believe when you look at a movie, you have got to look at the movie for what it is. You got to look at a movie for what it is. And it was a vampire movie. I can finally throw out some alerts now. I think there have been a lot of commentary on the movie. If you were to take a lot of good vampire movies that you have seen with a movie such as Dusk Till Dawn, you know, where the three vampires were coming into the city. You had those three same people coming in. If you even take what was that movie? Thou shalt not kill, where they were turning everybody into vampires. If you were to take a Midnight Mass, which was a show on, was it Prime? You have that there where everybody's, you know, drinking blood and becoming a vampire. So Ryan Coogler, even though it is said that this work was original, those of us that have watched horror films, vampire films, I even saw a little bit of Vlad the Impaler there. You know, where I'm gonna turn you all into vampires, fight with me. You know, but it had all of those elements inside the movie. So it was from my perspective, it was a good vampire flick. It's a good vampire flick. What made this movie I'm drinking the C4 here. What made this movie really stand out was the musical elements of the movie. There's a couple things that make this movie stand out, and it was back in a time where I think it was 1932. And when my wife saw that, you know, people were picking cotton, she said they were still picking cotton in 1932. I said, yeah, but they kind of didn't have to then. My grandfather picked cotton. You know, he was born in 1935. So picking cotton in the South was still relevant. You know, and they probably had the people that couldn't afford the, what was it called? The cotton gin machine. You know, so they still had manual people picking cotton. And even if you can afford one machine, you still probably had the manual people picking cotton. There's a lot of diversity in the movie where it showed that the twins, Stack and Smokestack. My hat is off to Michael B. Jordan. I could tell he takes his acting cues from. He's got a little bit of Jamie Foxx element in there. I could definitely see that. Especially when it came to, you know, how they were conducting themselves as quote unquote cowboys or outlaws, you know. So my hat's off to him for playing opposite himself. He did a very good job. There was the element of the Snow Bunny, who was, back then she would have been called a mulatto, whose father wasn't black but was black and white, like Frederick Douglass, and she just came out white, and she's trouble. She's trouble. But the most important element that I pulled out, and you're going to hear people say, you know, there are elements of hoodoo, and I've already gave a previous post on that. I've already given a previous post on Nah, not too much. Not too much of the witchcraft. There's been other movies such as The Skeleton Key where I was really intrigued. I was like, man, that's kind of scary, where she had to stand in the circle, and the circle wasn't to prevent evil spirits from getting in the house, it's preventing you from getting out, and they slammed the mirror into her. As you can tell, do you want to, don't say, shutting down my NPC. As you can tell, I've seen a lot of vampire flicks. I've seen a lot of horror flicks. Not really gory. I'm not really the type of person to watch, the Jasons. Even though I've seen a lot of Jasons. Freddy was different. Freddy was a little bit of both. Freddy was a little bit of both. The Nightmare on Elm Street. What happens when you sleep? But Music Talks, episode 27. Music, people hear music differently. That is the main part that I took out of the Ryan Coogler Film. Is that, number one, music is very spiritual. Whoever did that movie or sat down with them to do the writing on it, you could tell some deep musicians sat down with him. Music can make you feel happy. Music can make you feel sad. So music is very, very spiritual. It's kind of like a new song that I'm taking on, Raindrops Falling on My Head. And if you are a white person or a Caucasian person listening to this, you might be able to say, yeah, I can agree with that. There's a lot of 2-4 in there. 1-2-4, 1-2-4-5. Our music, it's done in a lot of minor tones. We had nothing. We had nothing to be happy about back then. There was the blues. There was the there was the blues. Not much happy times during Jim Crow and slavery. And that's why they call it the blues. No pun intended. But it showed how we hear and we respond. When I say we, I mean us as, I'm not going to say the word racial, but different ethnicities hear music differently. We hear music differently. Even us as even different Latin cultures hear music differently. The mariachi bands are different than the Cuban beat, and the Cuban beat comes from the Afro. That's an original piece that I'm gonna work on, that I'm gonna bring to fruition. But we all hear music differently. Even among the black culture, the African sound is not the same as the African American Negro sound. It's all a different sound, and we all respond to it differently. Like, I can go to Africa and they could be, oh, you know how they be singing. Like Steve Harvey, I'm gonna give a little Steve Harvey joke. Hey, Mr. White Man, and they just be beating on their congos. I'm not gonna respond to it like they're gonna respond. So I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I can dig it, and they're not gonna respond to our sound like we respond to our sound. But, and this is where the spiritual element comes into it at. If you know anything about music history and you've heard this before, it is believed that, and if I'm wrong, come at me in the comment section. Namely, the African, keep in mind, there's a difference between Africans. You know, keep in mind, when we talk about African, there are over 200 different, for lack of a better term, city-states. There's a difference between us and them. If that makes any sense, there's a difference between us and them. We have the African-American Negro, as they like to coin us, have a different sound. We have a different sound that's different from the Congolese. We have a different sound that's different from the Sudanese. We have a different sound that, you know, is believed that we've come from the Igbo tribe. It is also believed that the African American Negro is an extension of the tribe of Judah. Think about that. And you know, this is an interesting topic. That's an extension of the tribe of Judah. You know, and the tribe of Judah was responsible for the praise. You know, they were responsible for ushering or holding up the praise. That was what they were. David, tribe of Judah. You know, you listen to a song by Fred Hammond, "Shout unto God with the voice of triumph." If you ever wonder why the black church is very significant in praise and I'm not gonna say, okay, well, this don't happen in a white church too. It does, but specifically the reason why, you know, the black church has such an influence. Such influence is because I want to do some writing, but that's because it's a belief that, and we're not talking about Hebrew Israelites and any of that stuff. We're talking about specific tribes, and that's the reason why our sound. If you look back into even you got the people in China robbing the culture, you know, taking that Boys to Men sound, taking that sound, taking those elements. If you've seen the Jabberwockies, because that's what we were meant to do. Like a lion has its specific task in the jungle, just like a tiger, just like, you know, the Lord has created his people with different gifts. But anyway, I'm digressing from that. But it showed how different ethnic backgrounds respond to music differently. And that was the humorous part about it. It was like these people, I'm gonna say it like it is. Okay, the white people, they ain't got no rhythm. They start on a 2 and a 4. But black people start like this. And there was that element in the movie. There was that element in the movie where the 3 white people who were vampires came to the juke joint. They came to the juke joint and they was like, let us play some music. And they was like, what y'all know about music? What y'all? And the funny part is they knew a lot about music, but they knew a lot about their Celtic, their Celtic music, where they were doing the Irish River Dance, which is very amazing. And it even showed how whoever did the Irish River Dance actually pulled the black culture into that, where they were adding the drums to it. There's a girl on TikTok, look up black girl doing Irish River Dance. She sets that whole thing on fire. But it's true. Different people hear and respond to music differently. It's like when you and this is one of the reasons why you've got to learn how to play. You know, you got to learn how to play. You got to learn how to play to a wide variety of audiences because they're gonna hear. Certain people are gonna think they're not gonna hear that. They're not. You know, a white crowd's not gonna hear that. I'm just being upfront with you. An Asian crowd doesn't hear that. Asian crowd may hear. You know, they may hear something like that. And that's because is it because of the music that they were raised around? I don't think so. I just think that's people respond to sounds differently. Help me out. Okay, now that was a different element. That was a different. Elton John didn't throw that in. So if you start off with what I'm playing, that minor sound. You know, there are different chords that us as ethnic people of different nationalities we respond to. You know, there's different sounds that we respond to. It's like if I'm trying to Latin this sound out. Now let's go with that. You know, and here's the thing: it's all about just changing the rhythm pattern. I mean, truth be told, it's all about changing the rhythm pattern. Because think about it. Think what I just did. So if you change the rhythm pattern, so let's go to C minor. You know, it's just really about changing the rhythm pattern. But it's like, okay, do some people have rhythm? Do some people not have rhythm? It depends on the beat of what it's almost like there's a science to it. There's a science to it. Like I'm trying to do this raindrops falling on my head. And I'm like, how can I make that better? If you listen to the song, And it's all about getting a chord structure going. So. Now you've just changed the whole entire song. Ooh. Oh, I like that. So. I'm missing one. Hold on. We're gonna get it. Now let's go with that. Okay. So, all right. I think we got something going on here. Sorry, I just took a left turn at Normandy. Anyway, I gotta work with that. I gotta work with it. I'm excited now because I'm trying to figure out. I was like, where can I go with the? See, and this is what I mean. It's written by Hal David, lyrics by Hal David, music by Burt Bacharach. So it's going to go with the. So we can go with the kind of a F. That's your 7. Your F9. Don't worry, we're gonna get, and I'm switching different ethnic ears as we speak. I'm switching. I'm switching. I'm going from white ears to black ears to Latin ears. But we all respond to music differently, and it's almost like magic. It's almost if you take away something main from that movie, is that music is actually powerful. Music is influential. Music is, and if you go way back on my YouTube, music is actually a conjuring. A conjuring. I'm gonna say it again. You know, for the religious heads like Marcus Rogers is like, don't go see the movie. I asked my wife this yesterday. I said, what would you do if I was overly religious? And she was like, you wouldn't have married me. I said, whoa. Now, Shannon Sharp's over religious too. You see what happened to him. But go see the film. Go see it. Some people are saying it was a horrible movie. let me know what lenses are you looking at the movie through. Because if you're looking at it from if you're looking, even if you're looking at it from a horror movie aspect, a vampire movie aspect, it was, for what it was a pretty good vampire. It was a collage of vampire movies. If you're looking at it from a musical aspect, it was very good. Not a musical, but from a musician's lenses. Like, I can rock with it. If you look at even if you look at it from kind of a historical fact, Ryan Coogler, you did a great job. You did a great job, and also take a look at the deal that he got. Usually when on a film's opening night, it's said that is it that the producers of the film don't get paid? That all goes back to the studio. He got paid his up front. Kudos. Don't know who Ryan Coogler is by face, but yeah, that was pretty good. That movie was pretty good. Go see it. Go see it. Here's a side note. When I say our sound, do I have a jazz piece I can play? Jazz. Even though we see what jazz is, I don't even think jazz has evolved. Jazz has just been used heavily today. The reason why they called it jazz was considered the term black classical music. Look it up. What is this jazz? It's black classical music. So don't forget to like, subscribe, go see the film. I'm not gonna be the religious head and tell you that you shouldn't go see it. Before I can tell you not to see something or to see something, I've got to give an unbiased opinion about the movie, which means I've got to sit down and look at it through, all lenses. I got to look at it through these lenses. I got to put on my new progressive specs. Loving these. My wife hates them, but I'm sexy in them. You got to look at them through all lenses. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell notification. Peace. I'm gonna keep working on this, raindrops on my head. That wasn't that one. That's Erebus, who we're trying to perfect. Let's go. You even get your head going. I like that. Hold on. Anyway, yeah, go see the film. I don't want to wake up the house. Is it still 7? I don't know. But peace.